Welcome, everybody, to another episode of VoiceChat. Half video games, half voice acting, all podcast. I'm Christian Simon, an American game writer currently working on a Yuri visual novel called What the Heart Wants. Mazer.
Hi, I'm Mazerly. That's where everyone knows me as. My name is Adri Mayes. Let me think. I'm a voice actress, and my first audiobook is actually out. If anybody wants to check that out on Audible or Amazon, you can look up Cheerleaders from Planet X, and I did the audiobook version for that. It was cool.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out. And we have a very special guest today. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Madeline Dorroh. I'm a voice actor and college student. I've done voice work for video games. I provided some additional voices in Unavowed, and I'm also in Paramedium 2. You can hear me in the Kickstarter trailer for When the Shutter Stops, and that's just a couple projects I've been in, I guess. I'm really excited to be chatting with you guys, so...
Hi.
Yeah, good to have you here. I'm not sure if this is going to come out before that ends, but if it's still up around the time this comes out, you should absolutely go check out When the Shutter Stops.
Yeah.
I know that's a project that has a big following on the visual novel subreddit, so I hope it gets funded.
Yeah, me too. It looks really cool, so fingers crossed.
All right.
So, good to have you here, Madeline. I guess
Thanks.
This is a way we can kind of start off with all the voice actors we have here. I'd like to ask you, so, voice acting. Why?
Yeah. Why? Well, actually it was because it was the only kind of acting I could really do where I'm from, because I'm from a really rural area, and so we had, I guess there was a theater club at my high school, but it was pretty low-key. We only did maybe one performance a year, and a lot of kids were not really into it, so... and we didn't actually have any other kind of community theater, but I wanted to act, and then I figured out, oh, hey, voice acting is something I can do from home, and that's just kind of how I got into it. But as for the reason why I wanted to do acting at all is probably just because I love movies and TV shows, and I always wanted to be in them, so here we are.
Here we are.
Really is. I think that's like why a lot of people get into it. It's like, you look at movies, you look at TV shows or games or whatever, and you're like, I could do that.
I want to do that one day.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are making that happen.
Yeah, I think that's the cool part about it is, like, I don't know, I look back to when I was in middle school or something, and I'm like, dang, middle school me would be so impressed if she knew that I was doing this stuff, but then meanwhile, present day me is like, oh man, I'm not doing enough.
Mood.
So
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's I did voice acting as a hobby for a while, and that's kind of why I started doing it, because I was playing Virtue's Last Reward. Very good game, by the way. And I was listening to the English voice acting, and Dio, I was like, wait, this is the same guy that played Akihiko in Persona 3.
Thank you, Liam O'Brien. I wish you were in more stuff nowadays.
That was the point in my life where I was like,
yes.
Wait, this is a thing people do. Voice acting is
paid.
real.
You get paid for being an asshole.
Oh no!
Yeah.
But those are the best roles,
Yeah.
though, because then it's like you can be mean without consequences. Same reason why I like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's kind of a separate topic.
We could definitely do a D&D episode one day. That'd be great.
I would be so down for that.
Actually, while we're on the subject of D&D, there is something I wanted to ask. You guys, Mazerly specifically, I know you've played more than your fair share of D&D. What's like your favorite character you've ever played? In terms of a D&D context.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've only done like 2 full campaigns.
Yeah.
The first one was kind of like just me, except with magic and healing, because I wanted to get a feel for how like my friend would DM stuff. But I like to come back to that character, and if I DM something, then I'll put her in, except I've retooled her a bit. She was a light domain cleric. I basically redid her into the trickery domain. She was cool. I really did enjoy being Dragonborn fighter in my last campaign. That was really fun.
Ooh,
If
that
only
sounds
because fighters are really ridiculously overpowered in 5e. So you run up and you hit something, and then you hit them again, and then you hit them again, and then they're dead.
At early levels, definitely.
That's kind of what monks do too, especially once you get flurry of
5e can't really escape the problem with like linear warriors, quadratic wizards, where it's like at like 5th level and below, you know, all the melee fighters will be fucking shit up, but then the wizards can just do whatever the fuck they want once they have enough spells.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited for my next character though, because I'm doing a Hexblade Warlock for my next campaign, and yeah.
Oh, that sounds really cool. Oh my gosh.
I'm being a mouse.
You are. You're being a mouse.
Ooh. What class?
Rogue.
Your strength
Nice.
is 5?
5. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. that won't bite
You know
you
how
in
an
the butt,
ant could lift
surely.
10 times its own weight? Well, I'm like that in reverse.
You can barely lift anything.
Amazing.
But yeah, you got like a favorite or anything, Madeline?
Well, I mean, when you were talking about that 5 in strength, it reminded me of my very first character, who I'm actually still playing in a campaign right now. Her name was Rin. She's, well, I say was, she's still alive. She's a monk, and I took the Way of Shadow because it became a joke in the very first session that, like, stealth was, like, her obsession, so I just stealth around everywhere. But because she was my first character, I did not really know what I was doing in terms of optimizing stats, and I made Constitution my dump stat. So she has a Constitution of about 9, I think, which is not really great for a monk when you're getting right up close and personal with all the enemies. So, I love her, but also I dread in case she dies someday, because I feel like that could very well happen sometime in this next year. So I think your mouse is going to do a little bit better than Rin has so far, at least in the stats department.
Yeah, I did roll like a 17 and 2 16s.
Yeah, you're good on your other stats.
Ooh.
But he just can't lift for shit.
That helps balance it out.
I mean, I
then.
think you're the only one in our party who doesn't have... No, because my character has 2 negative modifiers. You only have 1, I think?
Oof.
Yeah.
So you're already doing better than my warlock, who can't...
Very fast, very smart mouse, but he doesn't lift.
That's
That's
okay, we have a
valid.
paladin you can hide behind.
There you go.
Actually, Phil, what is your favorite character that you've made for D&D?
Ooh, well, not D&D, but a D&D-like system. When me and my friends were first getting started playing tabletop games, we played a lot of this system. It was called Dungeon World, and it was similar to D&D, but a lot more focused on storytelling and narrative. So it was simpler, but your actions were a lot more broad, and it was more determined by what would be cool in the narrative rather than just mechanical stuff. But I discovered this like supplement of classes called Grimworld, and it had this one class which I thought was really interesting that was called the Slayer, where the idea was it was kind of like a monster slayer class, and their big mechanic was that every time you failed, you would incur a penalty to one of your stats, but you would deal more damage. And the only way to get rid of that penalty was to kill something.
Okay.
So the idea was the more you fail, basically, the more obsessed with killing something you got. I thought that was an interesting idea, but I wasn't really too big on like the murder hobo aspect of it, where it's just like, I gotta kill something. So I decided to translate that into a character. His name was Ken, and he was like this dude who at a very young age was cursed so that he had to kill people. And so his entire life's quest was just to cure himself of this curse and to free himself of its shackles. And I thought that was a really fun character to play. It was interesting to play this guy who was struggling with his morality.
That's really interesting. That's kind of reverse Death Note. Like, instead of going out and purposely trying to go and kill as many people, it's like he's trying to reverse that in a way. That sounds really neat. Oh my gosh, I might have to see if some friends can pull together a Dungeon World campaign.
That's a pretty cool system. Shame that campaign never finished, because I did want to see how the character would ultimately end up.
Darn.
He was either going to die.
I've only ever played 5e and Pathfinder, I think, so I haven't really experimented much with the other tabletop styles.
5e.
I've played a lot of tabletop systems in my time. Shadowrun, very complicated.
Yeah,
Let me
I've
tell ya.
seen the rule book for that.
It is a fucking mess. Though I do appreciate how much like control over your character a system like that gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really have like classes or anything. You're really free to do whatever the fuck you want.
I feel like that can also get pretty chaotic pretty quickly, though, especially if you end up having a lot of people and like everyone is doing their own thing. Because I mean, I know some folks may not like some of the rules with so many different tabletop things, but it's like it does kind of help keep people in check, and I think that can be important when you have a big group of anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it also like depends on who you're playing with, but yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, just get a bunch of people like me who can't optimize my characters for squat, and I'll keep things really balanced.
It'll be great.
And that just helps everything work out.
Hey guys, so I sound like a robot?
No.
Audacity and Discord are being
I don't
weird.
think so.
You sound fine for
Maybe
me.
Might just be Discord, yeah.
Yeah, okay, whoop, we're back to normal. Okay. But as I was saying also about Shadowrun, that system, I can't imagine what playing that system on a physical table would be like, because it requires so many fucking d6s.
Oh no.
Like if you're
Really?
rolling for something that you're really good at, you could end up rolling like upwards of 20 d6s.
What?
It is
Holy
insane.
Snap.
You need like a barrel full of d6s just to play a regular game.
I
Is
guess.
that a challenge?
Yeah.
I would love to go out and just grab some
Oh,
more
yeah.
dice. There's some really nice ones on Etsy.
I love looking
should
at
not
dice.
buy.
I have 2
Me
sets,
too.
but one day I'm going to have enough to rival probably Laura Bailey's collection. She has a lot of dice.
She does. Oh my gosh. I'm not caught up on Critical Role, by the way.
No spoilers.
But I know she has a lot of dice.
I'm getting towards the end of campaign 1. I didn't see their live show in New York, but otherwise I'm caught up with campaign 2. It's a fun time.
Dang, I only ever hopped on for the very start of season 2, but that was kind of when I was home and my Wi-Fi was bad, and so I just haven't been keeping up since. Like, I'm only a couple episodes into season 2, and I never did watch season 1, so I have much watching
The
to
only
catch up
reason
on.
I even started going back to listen to season 1 is because where I work, I'm basically on my feet doing something all day, but I can have headphones in. So I have like a
Yes.
giant list of podcasts that I want to get through, and Critical Role Campaign 1 was the first on the list.
It's so nice. Like, I ended up doing something similar when I was working at a job this summer. I was just answering a lot of emails, but, you know, I could have headphones. So I usually did music more than podcasts. But what are some that you would recommend? Because besides the Adventure Zone, I actually don't listen to many.
Mazer, are you going to be talking about our competitors?
I don't think we can compete with the. I don't think we can compete with the McElroys, Phil.
Hey, not right now, but you never know.
Dun, dun,
Let me see. What do I have on my queue for that? Finishing up Critical Role. I do want to start the Adventure Zone. I've got.
Wait, you haven't listened to
I
the
have
Adventure
not.
Zone yet?
I have had.
Oh, you're in for a treat. I won't spoil anything. Just, I think you will.
I have
think
had
you will
all of
enjoy
my
it.
friends and my ex say that it's really good, and I'm very excited because I always love hearing how people play D&D because everyone does it so differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of very interesting fan art for it, so
Oh yes.
you know, it'll be fun. It'll be hard trying not to laugh in the middle of work. I do that enough. But yeah.
Oh, definitely. Awesome. Well, let me know when you get into it because it is
I
lovely.
cannot
so.
wait. I will be sure to let you know.
Was it one of the McElroys who had that show where they made weird shit in Spore on Polygon?
Yeah, Monster Factory.
Yes, Monster
That's
Factory.
Good series. Really good series.
That's often people's gateway
It
into
really
McElroy
is.
content.
I think the Fallout 4 one is the one that a lot of people first heard about. Same.
That's what got me into it. And at first I didn't really understand what it was. I was like, why is it Monster Factory? And then I realized literally the whole series is just Griffin purposely trying to mess up the game until it breaks. And then the shenanigans that ensue. So once you realize what it is awesome. But until then, it's a little bit confusing.
Okay, now I know why I know what Monster Factory is, because there was an episode where they did Soul Calibur 5
Yep.
and they made Sly Cooper.
Yep. They make a lot of very, very good boys on that show.
Sly Cooper isn't a good
They
boy,
do
he's
indeed.
a criminal.
Hey, he can still be a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you saying there are no redemption arcs for Monster Factory characters? There's some really deep character development that happens
Yeah.
in these episodes.
I guess so, yeah. Okay, Madeline. Something I
Yes.
asked last podcast, but I feel like we didn't get too far into. Do you have any pet peeves when it comes to casting calls?
Oh boy. How long is this episode supposed to be again?
We're like what? We're like 15 minutes. I think we got time.
Okay. You know, I mean, I think just because I've been doing it a while now, there's definitely a handful that come to mind, but I think one is probably early casting.
yeah.
I'm sure everyone says this. And on one hand, I kind of understand where the casting directors come from on this, because it's like, oh, well, they're trying to find a voice, and if they find someone who fits, they're like, perfect, my job here is done. But I think that it is just, at least as someone who has to schedule time to get into my recording space and who has to make an effort to like block out a time to actually go and record for things, I can't just record for a role as soon as I see it, you know, and so having people stick to deadlines is really important to me. And so if I see people getting cast early in a project, I basically know that, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I dodged a bullet there, because it really does not work for me at all. And I mean, I think another one is also just when they don't give enough information. And I mean, like, I understand that, you know, some folks, especially creators for projects that are maybe still kind of early in the process, you don't want to give too much away, but at the same time, the actors kind of want to know what they're getting into. And I think, oh my gosh, I went to Anime Boston last spring, and I went to the Steve Bloom panel, and he was talking about how at one point he went to an audition and he didn't really realize it was for a hentai until he started reading the dialogue. Now, granted, that this is in like the in-studio, I guess, more professional world of LA, but online work is still professional too, and so I would rather not walk into a situation where I don't realize what I'm trying out for, you know? So just, at least just having a general synopsis of what the project's about and the expectations, like if the role is going to have any kind of sexual content, any kind of like really violent content, just having a little bit of that is really helpful. So I guess when people are just like, oh, this is Bob, please say what you think would fit, I'm like, I can't, that's not really doing it for me.
Definitely discuss that, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting that you're talking about people not giving enough information, because I actually talked about on the last podcast how I can even say more about this now. Like, I was concerned when we were making the casting offer with the Heart Wants that I was giving too much information.
Oh, I thought you gave just like the right amount.
I was concerned about that, because like,
all you really need,
like, what do people really need to figure out these characters? That's what I was worried about.
Well, I mean, you'd be surprised at what the little details like can affect someone's choices in a performance, though, right? But now it's been a while since I looked at the casting call, but I thought it was good, because it's like you need a sense of the character's personality, you need a sense of what they might sound like, and that's generally enough to go off of, but any little details can really help out with that.
Because like the general thing is like one paragraph for a backstory, one paragraph for personality, and then one paragraph for what we want out of the voice.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, that's perfect to me.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I've never tried to cast for a project before, so maybe it's different when you're sitting on the other end. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little difficult, especially when people don't listen to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Do you have any like wild audition stories or any that really stood out?
I'm not sure if any this has happened to too many other people. I had at least one or two people who in their audition email specifically said, I don't want to be paid for this. I'm like, huh?
Oof.
What?
Oof, trying to undercut the paid people. Oof, that's also a pet peeve, I guess. Although that's less about casting calls specifically.
Hey,
more
don't
just
do this.
in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
I mean, I understand people being enthusiastic, but man, that hurts when I'm like trying to save up money for after graduation, and voice acting is one of the ways I do that. And then it's like, oh, so someone else is just gonna try and scoop in and take it for free. Okay, that's
Also, hey,
fine,
my
I
headset
guess.
is dying.
It
Give
was
me a
Oh
fine.
my
second.
god.
I just plug this in real quick.
We are professional.
It's honestly fine. Like, I mean, I'm the one who's I'm recording I'm like recording on top of a piano
nice.
right now because I just went to a music practice room and I just set the mic on top of there. So, I could not pick on you guys for any professionalism when I'm not really doing much myself, but that is fine.
Hey, speaking of professionalism, be
Mm-hmm.
professional when you're sending in auditions, all right?
I do my best
Yeah,
to be,
same.
I was
yeah?
just saying,
I
I would
hate
say that
doing
to the
it, but-
audience.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
people are gonna listen to this. The aspiring people out there, just like leave a nice little message, put in your demo and website if you feel the need to, but really just leave it at that. All right.
Follow
Unless
the
the-
instructions that the
Yeah.
director has given you for auditioning.
Right. Yeah, really. You don't need to go out of your way to do more.
Yep. Actually, I think audition email etiquette is one of the things that isn't really
Oh,
as
yeah.
discussed, or at least not as covered. I think it's so, especially for new voice actors who are just trying to get into it, and if they haven't really had that experience of emailing people professionally, they might not really know what's involved. So, I mean, you just got to keep it simple though, right?
That's
like
what I
just-
do.
like Mazer was just saying, yeah, like follow the instructions first of all, but then you don't need to go on a whole rant about why you want the role. Just say, you know, here's my audition. If it's relevant, you can include any links to past work, especially if they asked for a demo reel, but otherwise just, you know, short and
Mentally,
sweet.
wasn't
is
it
good.
you who asked me what to include in an audition email, and I just said like, "Hey, here's my audition. If you need anything else, let me know."
I might
And you
have
res-
because I
and-
never
and you-
know what to
and
write
you
in
res-
those.
You responded with, "Yeah, that's better than I'm gay. Please pay me."
Oh, I think I remember what this was for. There are boundaries that people need to know exist if you are working with someone professionally that I think a lot of new
Mhm.
people don't really understand.
Yeah.
So, like, I've known Phil for a while, so we joke about these things, but I wouldn't really do that to someone I've never
Yeah.
talked to before.
Yeah, now that I think about it, you sent me your auditions for What the Heart Wants over Skype. You broke the rules.
Oops. You already
Dun,
paid
dun,
me.
dun. The truth is
I
revealed.
did.
What a scandalous podcast we have here. The truth is out.
I think I asked you if I could, though.
No, I think it was it you or was it
I don't-
Paco? I don't know. Both of you
I'm
sent
going to
me
go
your
check my outbox right now and see if I can prove you wrong.
both of you sent me your auditions over Skype, and both of you got cast. So,
I don't think.
I was
thought
talking about
mine was just
Paco.
over- Oh, okay. I was really confused.
Paco,
I was like,
aka
what?
Michael Schlotthauer, who plays Shotaro
Oh.
in What the Heart Wants.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Sorry.
see.
Ooh, how's the production timeline looking, by the way?
Oh,
If I'm allowed to ask. If I'm not.
it's not great, but we're moving along at our own pace. It'll
Hey,
it'll
no
get
rush.
finished.
No rush.
Look, you know, there'll always be a market for stuff like this. I hope.
I think there will. I think it has a really good premise. I mean, like, that's part of the reason why I was interested in it. It's like you
Right.
don't really get to see a lot of good, I don't know, lesbian rep sometimes in visual novels, and I thought it had a
Right,
really
that's-
sweet premise, so...
That's something I
Also-
kind of wanted to talk about more, which is like,
Phil,
you know,
really
yeah?
quick. I found the email I sent you, so I did email you my auditions.
Did you? I thought
Yes.
you. Wow, I might have been thinking of somebody else.
I'm
Well,
looking
there you
at
go.
it right
Oh,
now.
is Phil a
Ha!
liar?
I am a liar. I'm a liar now. But I wanted to talk about this a little more, which is really that, you know, we talked on the last podcast. Of course, paying people is probably the quickest way to get people to audition for your project. But
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
perhaps on the same level of that is really like the quality that you put forward for your project
yeah.
and your casting call is like,
Yes.
easily like one of, if not the most important thing you can do in getting people to audition. Like, I'll be the first to admit that what we were paying people for the demo for What the Heart Wants wasn't great, but we got a lot of really good auditions, I think at least in part because of the quality of the project. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here. Like the artwork,
you're right.
The artwork created by Zenvita, our character artist, was phenomenal. And I think that is definitely something that really attracted people to our project. They see this, they see like it really does look like something professional, something that they would be proud to put on their resume. And they're like, I should audition for this.
Yes, absolutely. Like the polish of the project does matter a lot, because there will be projects, you know, it says it's paid, but then I look at it and I don't know, if it doesn't look that great, I might still give it a pass. But if it's really nice looking and if it's clear that it's actually going to be completed, because that's a whole other issue we could talk about is projects that don't get finished. But, you know, if it looks like it's well on its way and it looks good, then, you know, I might be more willing to try it even if it's unpaid, because it just looks that good, you know?
Yeah, and I'm like, there's a lot of things you need to take into account when you're setting these things up. Like, I was listening to like this podcast these two dudes do where they just talk about recent casting calls, and one of them specifically mentioned they were talking about What the Heart Wants. They put this up like a few hours after the casting call went up, and I was surprised. But I was listening to what they were saying, and something they specifically mentioned that I didn't even think about was that we didn't have the logo for the game in our casting call.
Oh.
The logo wasn't even finished by the time the casting call went up, but it's like I didn't even think about that. Like, people might actually.
The logo does look really good, though.
Oh yeah, the logo looks fantastic. Jessica Halley, our UI designer / background artist, she did a great job on that. But you know, that's something I didn't even think about when we were putting that together. It's like, maybe people would want to know what the logo looks like.
You know, I hadn't really thought about that either, but now I'm going to think about that every time I look at a casting call is, do they have a logo?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like people want to know, does this project look quality? Does this project look like it's going to be finished? Those are really important factors to think about when you're putting together a casting call. You really got to put your best foot forward.
Mm-hmm. And see, I think whether or not a project is going to be finished, it can really depend on what kind of project it is, because with something like games, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think voices are usually one of the last things that get added into video games, but for animation, it's one of the first things you need for storyboards. And so I find it's a lot easier to hop onto game projects because of that. Like, you see so much more of the final product, but animation's a little bit trickier because they might not have as much finished by the time they need to start searching for voices, and it can be hard to tell if you're hopping onto a project that looks like you're going to want to spend time on it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm always a little wary of projects where they say that they have the script, but it's not completely finished yet in their casting call.
Especially if it's paid, because then it's like, well, wait, then what's this price estimate here? Like, if you don't have it finished, then how do I know you're not going to tack on another 20 lines? Mm-hmm. You know?
Time is money. Remember that.
It really is. And I think I was actually talking with somebody about this earlier, which is that as much, like, I mean, even though I really like some of the projects I've done that were unpaid, it's like, I actually, like, for many people, it might seem snooty or something to only do paid work, but in my case, it's because I'm actively trying to earn money to save up for other things. And so if I'm doing unpaid work, I could be spending that time taking another shift at my tour guiding job or doing pet sitting, which I do sometimes. So it's like, time really is money.
But this ties into something else I want to talk about. I'm not sure if I should, but I will anyway.
Boy. Bring it on.
If you build it, they will come. That's the mentality I abide by. And that's what I thought of when we were doing our casting call, you know? Even if we can't pay people a great amount, they will come and audition if we are putting forward a quality product. And so I don't really like what they're doing with the roles on the Voice Acting Club Discord. I know they're trying to like attract people.
How are we ever going to get Kira on here?
Yeah, I this is entirely my opinion. This does not reflect what anybody else thinks here.
You're totally welcome to have opinions. That's
yeah, and I'd like to get your guy. I like to get your guys' opinions on this too. But like, to me, it's a matter of like, I just don't really see the point of it. I think all it really does is foster this sense of, I guess, elitism where it's like, okay, yeah, these people who have gotten this fancy title, but it's like there's no real like benefit or anything to that. So I don't really see how that factors into trying to attract more professionals onto Voice Acting Club. You know, Casting Call Club tried to do a similar thing with attracting more professional voice actors and professional projects, and didn't really work out for them.
Well, in the case of Casting Call Club, I think part of the issue was that even despite making these categories, projects were still not being sorted correctly. So you would try and look for original content, and you would still end up with a lot of these Minecraft projects, which are fine, but you know, they're kind of their own category. For. Yeah, exactly. And I guess just as someone who did get the professional role on Voice Acting Club, I've been trying to figure out my own opinion on it, and I really like it. I 100% understand the concerns behind it, but having that extra, there's like, you know, an extra chat that's the industry lounge or whatever, just for the people with the pro role to kind of have their own discussions, and it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a quieter, a little bit more professional interactions with people, because sometimes the main chats, like the server is just growing bigger and bigger, which is great, but it also means the chats get crazier. 1,500
people recently, right?
Yeah, like it's been growing a lot just in the past few months from what I can tell, and sometimes when a more professional like person does come along, especially folks like that Kira might know, then it's like sometimes they really do get bombarded with questions, sometimes from people who are well-meaning but perhaps don't really understand the boundaries or like when it's appropriate to be asking these kinds of questions. And so if nothing else, it just sort of provides a nice space where people, if they want to interact with some of their other, I guess, peers and ask questions and maybe not get bombarded, that's kind of nice. But
or like
also,
have the
I'm not
topic
someone who's
shift
had that
dramatically.
issue though.
Or like have the topic shift dramatically
Yes.
immediately after you send the message.
Oh my gosh, yeah, things I can get whiplash sometimes from how fast the topics bounce back and forth. And
I'll like
I
look
enjoy
at it 1 minute and then it's yeah.
And I think it's still kind of in the beta stages right now, so they're still sorting everything out, but
I do go ahead.
No, I was just going to say something like, in conclusion, I quite like it, but I understand why you disagree, you know, so I didn't really have anything to add to that. What were you going to say?
Maybe I'm just biased because somebody I don't like is in the professional role, but you know.
Got you. It's not me, is it?
No, it's
definitely. That's why.
Get off of my podcast.
That's the only reason you're here, so Phil can yell at you.
I knew it.
I don't know. I do like the new one that they came out with, the content creator one.
Yeah, I just heard about that.
Because
I don't even qualify for that.
I don't qualify for the professional one. Only one thing I've gotten paid for has actually come out that I can, like, say, hey, I did this thing. Nothing else has ever come out, and I cry about that every night.
Oh no.
This isn't directly aimed at you, Phil. There are, like, other things, but, like, I was reading about the content creator one, and I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. Like, for people who have proven that they've made stuff, and if they ever need voices for something else, then I think that's a really good idea to set them apart and prove to people, like, yeah, they're trustworthy and reliable, and you will definitely get something done with them. That I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but somebody having made something doesn't really prove that there's somebody that you're going to enjoy working with.
I mean, you don't always have to enjoy working with someone to work with them.
It's not exactly like shitty people having gotten to places on Voice Acting Club. Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, there's like, when you're working with someone in a professional manner, there are a lot of times where you might have to work with somebody who you do not, like, actually get along with on a personal level. But unfortunately, that's something that happens a lot. So, like, knowing how to deal with that and just stay professional is something that is good to know. And I don't know where I was going with that, but
I'd argue that's one of the most valuable skills in the business. Like,
oh yeah.
Speaking as someone who does not know much about the business, so maybe I don't even know, but just from what I've observed, it seems like just being able to get along with people, even I don't know, I kind of lost the way I was trying to phrase it, but you have to be able to keep any personal feelings separate from working with someone on a professional capacity. And
yeah.
So
like, to give an example, Mythbusters.
Yeah.
The two guys who run that show don't even really like each other.
Oh no.
They've talked about, they've said they don't really dislike each other, but they're definitely not like compatible. They don't like hang out after work or anything. They just do their job and go home. And it's like, that's kind of
just shattered into
but,
a million pieces.
But,
oh no.
But even then, they managed to make a project together without any major drama for how many years? It's like, you could take an example from those two guys, just knowing how to work with people you might not even necessarily like. But, going back to what I was saying, like, ultimately, the stated goal of these roles was to attract more professional people to Voice Acting Club, but I just don't think a shiny title is going to be all that effective for it. But, you guys, you have fair points, and we're free to disagree here, because this is America.
Yeah.
And
Dang right. Freedom.
this is our right.
No, but I mean, I totally get what you're saying. I think it's just, for me, it's just been more about, it's been less about the title or like the cool role name change, and just more about having that little extra space where people could, I guess, I almost want to just say have a little bit of a break from the main chat, but also just where they could
completely fair.
Ask more professional inquiries about things like, what do you guys think about this particular acting coach? And then that allows a chance for people who have actually worked with that coach to provide an answer, whereas in the general chat it might be, I don't know. I haven't worked with this coach, but so-and-so is great. Oh, I want to do coaching someday. Oh man, I've never done coaching. Oh man, what do you guys think of X, Y?
And then it spirals even worse.
Yeah. And so it's just a lot more chill, I think, to have that. But until I see what the effect will be of having maybe more roles added, or like as more people grow, I guess there's no really way to see how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. Who knows who will be vindicated by history.
True.
But like, I'm trying to avoid like any type of elitism in the voice acting community. I think that's not conducive at all to building a good community, but
no, it's not. And
I saw a casting call recently. You guys have probably seen it as well, where one of the things they listed was like, have good, clear, crisp audio. Don't use a USB microphone. We can tell. And I was like, all right, one, no need for that type of condensation. How do you say it? Condensation. The thing you'll learn very quickly about me on this podcast is that I have no idea how to talk. Yeah, I was like, come on.
Choose to talk as a hobby.
Yeah,
or as a profession.
I'm like, come on. There's no need to talk down to your voice actors like that. And two, I just like, but it doesn't matter. Microphone elitism is the worst fucking kind of elitism. It's like, I fully abide by the mentality that I don't fucking care if you're using the most expensive XLR mic you can find, or if you're using a Rock Band microphone. As long as you can deliver me good, clear, crisp audio, I don't care.
There is a distinction between the types of audio you can get from USB and XLR microphones. And now, granted, I am definitely with you on the elitism part, because as someone who still uses a USB microphone, I get a lot of people saying like, oh man, pros don't use that, and I'm just like, but I got the pro roll, like in the
exactly. It's like,
and see, and that leads back to the whole like elitism of the roles thing, but I've managed to make it work just because I have the privilege of having access to really decent space. That means that the room around me is treated pretty well, so I've managed to get by with it. But I know it's something about like the way the microphone connects to the computer directly versus having it go through an interface first does affect the quality of it. And I've had a couple of audio mixer friends tell me that there is a distinction. So I don't know what the distinction is, but
me neither.
Yeah.
My ears are bad.
Exactly. I have really sensitive ears. I couldn't tell you the fucking distinction.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I doubt 99% of people could tell you either.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I'm not a pro. I don't know anything.
Honestly, I don't either, which is why I was really surprised when I did get the role, I was like, oh sweet. And I'm infiltrating. I'm a spy into the world. What's it like? Wasn't there a show or something that was? I don't know what I'm talking about, but
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
it's like something Lives of the Rich and Famous, and I was like,
oh man, that's going to bug me all night until I figure it out. Damn it!
Hey, tell us if there's any drama in there.
So far there hasn't been. I'll say that much. It's been very nice and professional, which I should hope it would be.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's just weird to me because I don't know. Like I don't feel like a professional at all. Like I mean, I try to conduct myself professionally. And I have been very fortunate in getting paid work this year, which has been nice because I need the money. But I think there would still be room to even further if people wanted to make further distinction between like the people who do this full time and then the people who are just like me who just kind of have done it hobbyist for a while. And I don't know what to make of that if people ended up doing that, but
I bet the mods have a bunch of really interesting conversations about all this.
Oh, I bet. I would love to sit in on it, but I probably don't have enough time to ever try and be a mod, so I guess I'll never know.
I like that when I met Diplo at AX when we were going
AKA
out for
Ben.
Korean barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
on our last
aka
episode.
Ben, who was here last time we did this.
Yeah.
I asked him, so did you regret becoming a mod? And his response, I'm sorry, Ben, was within the first week. So
Oh no, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Ben though. He's really funny, but yeah, I can't imagine trying to be a mod in a community that large, like 1,500 members. That's so many.
That's too many.
So I really admire them for the work they put into it because I imagine there's a lot of there must have been a lot of back and forth about whether or not to try and roll out these new roles and everything and what that should look like and how that should be implemented. So
maybe the biggest argument they had was what color their names should be.
Yes.
I hope so.
Oh, it's such a pretty purple. I'm so pleased. If it was a different color, I probably wouldn't have applied.
Half the reason I want to apply or wanted to was because it's a very nice shade of purple.
It is.
And yeah.
You will get there. I believe in you.
One day. When
Okay,
things come out.
I just checked into the voice acting voice acting club chat real quick, and I looked at the games and media channel, and Ben said Tenko was the worst, and I thought he was talking about Danganronpa, and I was about to pop off.
Oh no. I only ever watched the anime based on the first game. I never actually played the games.
The anime is so
bad.
bad.
I know.
You gotta play the games.
I know it was, but my computer is not good enough to. Wait, it is on PC, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it came out on Steam, which is weird.
Yeah, that's all right. I thought so. I couldn't recall for sure, but my computer's like never good enough to run games like that, and I didn't have a. What was it also on Vita? Oh.
It came out on PSP originally back in like 2010. Then they
but only in
ported it over
Japan.
to Vita, and that's the version we got here in the West. Like, how many years after the first one came out?
It was like 3 or 4. It only ever came out in the West because of how popular it got on Something Awful.
Yeah, that's where
I didn't know
I
that.
remember reading the Let's Play on Something Awful because nobody thought we would get it here in the West. Ha, we were wrong.
Wow, I never realized that. I just assumed it automatically got a Western release.
No, it was, like, from what I understand, it was a pretty niche game anyway, and then it blew up in, like, other markets. Like, I think
Yeah.
South Korea really loves the franchise.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
Danganronpa 1 was definitely like a budget game.
oh, yeah.
That's
it
why all the
really
characters
was.
are cardboard cutouts.
I think it really works for the aesthetic of it, though. Like, it has such a unique
Yeah.
feel and look to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't doubt that cardboard cutouts was like a budget thing at first, and they were like, oh, this actually like works really well. So
Yeah.
they kept it.
Gotta work with what you got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Don't
that's
we
why
know
I'm so
that?
much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just You can go.
Oh, no, I mean, I was just gonna say, but, like, that's why I'm also just so impressed by the amount of work you put into What the Heart Wants, because, like, I just think about trying to put out an indie game of any kind, and I think about all the work that must go into it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so much. Like, I just sit here and record the lines, but, you know, you gotta do the writing, and you gotta figure out the art, and you gotta figure out all of that,
Yeah,
so good job, man, like, kudos, because that is tricky.
It's hard. It's a lot easier when you're doing a game like this, where it's just a visual novel.
Well,
and
not just a visual novel. You still have a lot of elements that have to go into it.
Give me a murder mystery section.
I'd be down for that.
Sure.
Please.
But only after the rap battle.
Okay, cool.
Is there a rap battle?
No, not yet.
Put one in, please.
Oh, yet.
But
who the hell am I fighting in that?
It can be hard just on the communication bit, because like there's so I was working with Dan Halley, our composer, and I was talking to him about doing like the last track we were gonna have for the demo, which was just like this a bit more of like an upbeat kind of, that's what I'm looking for, like more excited song, like for the more energetic parts of the game. But the way he interpreted that was that he was like, hey, I kind of went off on this, can you tell me if I'm going in the right direction? And he gave me 10 seconds of like RPG battle music.
Oh shit,
whoa.
please.
I was like, this, I mean, it's good, but this isn't really what I was looking for at all. And
no,
so
we need a dream sequence where it's like an RPG.
You gotta be really careful when it comes to communicating with people on these types of things, especially because I am really bad at describing what I want.
It's worked pretty well so far, I think.
Yeah, but when we were doing the characters with our character artist, I had to give her so many references. Like, I guess it's the first time anybody's ever gonna know this, where Kenji, the first of our guys, his appearance is very much based on Kirito from Sword Art Online.
Oh my god.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Because that was the most generic anime guy I could think of.
Oh my gosh.
You aren't wrong. You really aren't wrong.
It cannot be unseen. Oh my gosh. Amazing.
And also, on that note, Goro is based on the no-clip guy from My Hero Academia.
Oh, I haven't watched My Hero, so...
The guy with the Tintin face.
Wait, that's who he's based on?
Yeah, when we were designing Goro, I specifically said, alright, so I want his hairstyle and his build to be based on the guy with the Tintin face from Hero Academia.
Oh, now I'd have to look at them next to each other. I'm almost at that part in season 3.
The hair ended up being a little different, but that was the closest thing I can imagine to the type of character I wanted Goro to look like. By the way, I gotta give huge props to our character artist for Shotaro, because I did not give her any references for him. He is pretty much entirely her work, so...
Oh.
I mean, I think he really fits with what you wanted.
Yeah, and he looks great, and it's pretty much exactly what I wanted for that character, so big props to her. And Machiro is pretty much entirely based on Byakuya Togami from Danganronpa, except with a hoodie instead of a suit.
So he's a hobo version.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, another thing I wanted to clarify while we're on the topic of character design. I know Ruri, our protagonist, looks a lot, almost identical to Yuna, the protagonist from Kindred Spirits on the Roof, and I swear to God that was not intentional.
I don't know what, is that another visual novel, or?
That's another Yuri visual novel, which What the Heart Wants takes a lot of inspiration from.
Got you.
And I know
I does love that visual novel. It is a good one.
I fucking love Kindred Spirits on the Roof, and when it comes to pretty much any type of design decision, and when it comes to What the Heart Wants, I'm pretty much always like, yeah, can we do it a little more like how Kindred Spirits does it? And like at some point we're probably gonna have like a fucking calendar map select screen or something, but
if you make me monologue for like 2 months worth in the game lamenting over something, I'm going to punch you. Because that was still the worst part of Kindred Spirits.
Don't worry, mate. So we got past the gay angst part. We specifically skipped over that. But yeah, our protagonist...
That was really fun to record, I must say.
Yes.
Hey, thanks.
And then...
But,
can I talk about anything I've had to record for that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Actually...
I abide by the mentality that everything we have in the demo for What the Heart Wants, we're free to talk about, because that is our selling thing. Like, we're selling this to people. And so I think any part of the demo we're free to show off and talk about.
Okay, because I will say, I think my favorite part that, like, my personal favorite bit that I recorded from all of that was that angst part right before she, like, passes out.
Oh, yeah. That we had to talk about that a bit when I was finishing up writing it, because there was a lot of concern about whether or not it was too long. And it definitely is a very long monologue.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, like...
Wait, where can I find the demo? I actually haven't seen it yet.
It's not done yet.
Okay, cool.
Rip.
I will just listen eagerly in anticipation then.
Yeah, so there's a very long monologue about, I want to say, like a third into the demo, where Ruri talks about how she discovered she was gay in her relationship with Kaio and yada yada.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was a lot of fun to write, but to me, it was a matter of, like, this is a very important moment because we're kind of explaining the premise of the game and Ruri's motivation throughout all of it, and so I thought we should spend a lot of time on this because of just how important it is.
Yeah, I can only hope that what I gave you was good enough.
Oh, it definitely was.
You and everyone else.
I'm sure it was awesome. Believe in yourself.
Still waiting for Ryan to deliver me that retake. That son of a bitch.
Damn it, Ryan.
But yeah. Wow, I completely forgot what I was even talking about before.
Honestly, so did I.
Isn't that how this always goes?
Well, that's just the natural flow of conversation. You just move from one thing to another.
Oh yeah. I was still talking about the character design for What the Heart Wants and how Ruri is definitely not supposed to look like Yuna.
I mean, I think it kind of works as, like, an homage to Kindred Spirits, which is, like, a really well-known Yuri visual novel.
Uh-huh.
Especially, like, in the West, where it made a big stink when it came out, which but,
yeah,
you know.
For those of you who aren't aware, Kindred Spirits on the Roof was the first visual novel to come out on Steam with uncensored sex scenes.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
I just want to clarify, it was just boobs. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
really
for doing the job
much.
and letting us know.
Yeah.
But,
you want to see a lot of awkward sex between teenage lesbians with a lot of boobs? Go play Kindred Spirits.
I think I'm good, but thank you.
Play it anyway. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I think it's good anyway, but... And hey, they released the version of that with full Japanese voice acting, correct?
Yeah, is that out in English yet? I don't think so.
I don't think
Not with English voice acting, I just mean, is the patch that has that out in English? I don't think it is yet.
I don't know.
It's like paid DLC, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely worth it considering how much all of them talk.
Yeah, that game is very long, so I can only imagine how much work went into that.
Oh, yeah.
But at least they didn't have to voice all the narration.
Oh, yeah, that would have been, like,
I'm sure you can testify.
I can, yes. Yes, I can.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that, but it's too late to back out on it.
I already recorded it, so...
What I'm talking about is the narration and What the Heart Wants is voiced.
Well, that makes sense, right?
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a spur-of-the-moment decision, but I'm wondering, like, should we have done that? Well, doesn't matter now.
Too late now.
Yeah.
It's too late to apologize.
But really, it is definitely one of those decisions I wish I'd put a little more thought into, because it's...
I mean, it's the demo, it's not like it's the full game. And this is like testing the waters for what the full game will be.
Right.
Yeah, it was like, a wise man once told me the demo should represent the absolute best thing our game can be. And so, I think, in a perfect world, What the Heart Wants would have voice acting extending to the narration. But if the full game does have full voice acting extending to the narration, I'm gonna hire a fucking sound engineer, because I'm not doing that shit. I'm the one editing all the voice acting for this game.
Oh, man.
But I'm not doing that for the full game if we're doing anything beyond partial.
That must be taking hours.
If you...
Full days.
Yeah, no. I'll cut down my lines so you have the takes that I want to give you, and that's it. If that's what we're doing for the full game.
Game development.
Man, I don't even like going through my own takes for things when I record it, and I'm like, oh man, gross, and then I have to send it off. I can't imagine listening to everyone's for, oh my Wow. Sorry, I was just
Yeah.
thinking about that.
Yeah, like, and when I'm listening to the voice acting, I'm going back through my old writing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, because I have to listen to people read stuff that I just wish I had written better.
Well, that's fair, but I mean, because it's just for the demo so far, there's still time to change it if you need it, right?
Yeah, just like make notes on things where you're like, that could be worded better.
Yeah,
or something like that.
We did change a whole section from the demo, and that
Yeah, because I told you it did not flow well when I was reading it.
like that was the one part I didn't write, so I was struggling a bit to write that section. So somebody else took over for a brief minute, but I fixed it. You know, so we're all good now.
Everything's
hopefully the full
good.
game
One
won't
day
have any
people will
problems like
see
that.
that.
Yeah. I feel like we've gotten a little off track here, but that's
Just
okay.
a tad.
This is our podcast. This is our podcast. We can talk about where the hell we want.
Can we talk
You
about...
tried to make me argue about idols last time, so
Yeah, no opportunity for that here.
Yeah, I'm too much of a living under a rock person to really let you guys get into that since I don't play those games.
Yeah.
it's
I don't play
okay.
those
Ben
games
didn't
either.
know what we were talking about either.
Oh, really? I don't know why I thought he would, but...
He seems like the kind of
I don't know,
guy.
it's just like, I said, oh, really? And I was like, well, that's not particularly surprising, you know, I don't know what Ben plays those kinds of games, I don't know.
You play any mobile games though?
Plenty what?
Mobile games?
You know, not really. My phone is just, it's
Old?
Well, it's not really. It's an iPhone 6, so I don't consider that very old. But it's only 16 gigabytes, and somehow a lot of that has gotten taken up. So I have Pokemon Go, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is all my
Mazer
social
is the
media.
master of gacha games, so you have any recommendations? Just talk to her.
I have a lot that I've tried and played and have seen die.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like both Tails ones, and now there's another one. I don't know why.
What's one of your favorites?
She is an old
Okay.
wise master.
One of my favorites. I mean, Love Live was the first one I played. I have a very soft spot in my heart for that.
Yeah.
I put a lot of time into Fire Emblem Heroes when I finally got into it, because Fire Emblem Heroes wasn't good when it came out, and I stopped playing it for a few months, and then they fixed things.
That was me
But
with Pokemon
Fire
Go.
Emblem Heroes... Pokemon Go is fun. Well, it would be fun if I lived in a place that had things in it,
Pokemon?
which it doesn't.
Yeah.
Summer 2000.
Fire
Oh, sorry,
Emblem
go ahead.
Heroes gets too repetitive, though. That's
Yeah.
my biggest problem with
Like,
it.
Fire
And
Emblem
also,
Heroes. Oh,
it-
no, go on.
It has this problem where, like, because they want people to keep pulling from the different pools, they keep trying to make every new character so interesting that, like, it just completely overwrites older characters, and I don't really like that. I understand why
Oh,
they
yeah.
do it from, like, a marketing standpoint, but...
It's power creep.
I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Food Fantasy, actually, because it works really well with my work schedule. Because that one, I can just, like, open it, do a few things, and then I can close it and let it do whatever, and then open it again on my break.
That's kind of nice. I kind of
That's
wish
fair.
Pokemon Go was like that, because it just uses so much
Yeah.
data. Like, even just walking to class, or not data, for me, battery, but my phone's been having battery issues separate from that, though, so that might be part of the problem. But
I will
Yeah.
say, though, whenever I go into Boston, I do like to pull out Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot. There's a lot in Boston for that.
oh my gosh, at my house, because I live in such a rural area when I'm not at school, like, you open it up and it's just a field. It's just one big grassy field, and there's nothing. And so then to actually
Yep.
be here where there's civilization and there's actual Pokemon to capture, it's so nice. So that's why it feels like such a waste if I don't play it. But
Mm-hmm.
then also it's so addicting. So
Oh yeah, it was amazing playing that at Anime Expo, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
I would love to go to Anime Expo. Maybe next year. Who knows?
I really hope I can go next year
That would
too.
be so cool.
Should I throw my hat into the ring here? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, look, Mazer. Once upon a time, I made fun of you for having an account on a Kantai collection.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, then I started playing Azure Lane, and it's actually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Look, ship girls. Ridiculous concept. I fully acknowledge that.
I will never say
so
that it's a
fucking
good concept.
stupid. But it's funny, and that's what matters to me.
You have to have fun with these things. Don't take them too seriously.
Yeah, but Azure Lane. People don't know what it is because it's still relatively new, but it's like it's a gacha game, so of course you're like rolling for characters and stuff. Wouldn't be a mobile game without that. But what attracted me to it is it's like this like twin stick shooter. It's like a bullet hell like Toho.
Ooh.
Where the majority of the gameplay is like you're on this like little plane, you're on the left side of the screen, the enemy is on the right, and a lot of it is just dodging attacks. Like they'll be shooting you with bullets and torpedoes and stuff, and you gotta dodge out of the way. It's actually like a pretty interesting and fun game.
That does sound fun.
And I think personally it has some of the fairest gacha mechanics I've ever seen.
How so?
Like the least fair ones I've ever seen were in Fate Grand Order. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people on the Voice Acting Club Discord have been playing Dragalia Lost, that new Nintendo gacha.
I heard vaguely things. I've vaguely heard about that, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, and so the rate for like the super rare characters in that game is like what, 0.5%? That's what I saw.
Dang.
Maybe
the rate for the super rare characters in Azure Lane is like 7%.
Wow.
It's like
that's wow.
Yeah, you actually get like rare characters pretty often. Like I only started the game a couple of weeks ago, and I was rolling on like the newest event they had, which was only up for like another week, and I got all of the rare characters from the event gacha pretty quickly.
That's really cool.
And I've already gotten almost all the rare runs from the new one that started like last week. That's pretty cool. And
I love that about food fantasy.
Yeah. Another thing. No, go on.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was going to say food fantasy has this thing where like characters can be built from shards, and you can get a lot of different shards in a lot of ways. So you don't necessarily have to rely on getting really good luck in the gacha pools. You can just like make the character if you have enough shards, which I think is nice.
Actually, that's another thing Azure Lane I think does really well is that you can earn characters just by beating levels. Like every level has a pool of characters that can drop from it, and as you do fights, you get those characters. And so like for a lot of the characters, you don't have to roll them from the gachas. You can just get them from beating levels a bunch of times.
This is now a gacha podcast. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm learning so much. I'm excited about this.
I just want to say we're not sponsored by any of these games in any way, though I wish we were.
Or are you? Dun dun dun.
Like, yeah, no corporate bullshit here. We're just talking about games. But yeah, I think it's a really fair game in terms of how the characters are distributed. And another thing, you were talking about how like like Fire Emblem Heroes has like the power creep where they have to keep introducing new characters and alternate versions of old characters.
Especially since they've barely touched a lot of characters from older Fire Emblem games. I'm still waiting on my beast units, IS. I know you have them, and I want them in the game.
But you still got like 4 different versions of Camilla.
Which I have.
Yeah, of course.
But
I think Azure Lane...
lucky. Listen.
I think Azure Lane does it really well, where, one, the alternate versions of characters are not alternate characters. They're just skins. You can buy them with the premium currency, but you don't like... And a lot of them you just earn from doing special quests. It's not like you have to roll for the alternate versions of already existing characters. I like that.
Are you saying... Phil?
Yeah?
Are you saying that you don't want to roll for another version of Artoria who is an alter Lancer for Christmas?
No, only if she's wearing a swimsuit.
God, Grand Order is so dumb.
But let me tell you, people go fucking gaga for those swimsuit skins in Azur Lane. I know because I looked at the subreddit. But
Always
also,
a fun time.
Also, besides that, they have this mechanic. It's called retrofitting, where older characters will get like skill trees, and you can upgrade them to enhance their stats and sort of have them keep up with the power creep. And once you get through all the skill tree, they get a new model and a new like CG. So like that's kind of like an alternate thing, but it's not like you have to roll for it. Again, you just upgrade the character and they become better and kind of keep up with the meta. So old characters don't fall behind because they get new versions. And I think that's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so fun game. I've been enjoying it.
I feel so empowered by all this new information I have now about gacha games.
Yeah.
I can go conquer the world with this information now.
Like, the advice I'll give you is don't play Grand Blue Fantasy.
Okay, first of all, Grand Blue Fantasy was actually fun to play.
Ooh, a hot take.
It had a few technical issues though.
I have no opinion on this argument, so I just have no idea what's correct here now.
Nothing's correct in gacha games.
Yeah.
No one wins there. No one.
Yeah. There are no winners. Only money spent in the gachas.
Just like real life.
Yep. Wow, this took a turn.
I just say these bleak things. I'm actually quite happy and I have a pretty positive outlook on life. I just like to say these deadpan, kind of depressing things, but I don't actually think they're true. So if there's one thing anyone gets from listening to me on this podcast, just know I'm kidding. Life is great. It will always get better, I guess. Yeah.
There will be a good place, maybe.
Okay, one more thing I wanted to say about Azur Lane. It is the best gacha game you know because it has me and Maisley's home states, Pennsylvania and Massachusetts.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
You showed me what Massachusetts looks like.
Yeah, she just looks like Attila from Fate Grand Order for some reason.
Oh, God. I just want to hear them try and say that in Japanese, because Massachusetts is a fun word to say in English.
Hang on. That might be on the wiki. Let me look it up.
Please,
but
show
it's
me
great
that after this.
Because you can be like, oh yeah, my best girl is Indianapolis.
I mean, it's like people who play Grand Order and then saying, yeah, Leonardo da Vinci, good girl. It's
oh man.
These things have given us such a weird way of looking at things. I mean, if you Google like half the characters from Fate, you'll get them from Fate, not their actual historical people.
Yeah, people on the Voice Editing Club Discord were giving me weird looks because I was talking about how one of the girls in Azur Lane is a ciscon, and I'm just like, you people are the ones playing a game with anime girl Jack the Ripper. But I'm the weird one.
Yeah, anime girl Jack the Ripper barely wearing any clothes and looks like she's like, what, 12?
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Like, I'm just saying.
Apocrypha was good.
We're both weird. So, you know. But
Apocrypha actually was enjoyable to watch, but anyway.
Best boy Astolfo.
Astolfo is very good.
Yes. Hey, is the new Fate Extella out yet?
That comes out in December, I think.
I want to play as Astolfo.
I'm still really mad. They had the demo, or like a demo at AX, but the like dealer's hall was so fucking massive and everyone was just in line for things constantly. And I was so sad. But it's okay, I got a cool Dragon Quest shirt.
Ooh.
Anyways, speaking of AX, even though you didn't catch it there, did you ever end up watching the Kase-san OVA?
I didn't. I think that was the morning a few of us from the VAC were going to go play Pokemon Go because it was community day.
How was that?
For Squirtle, who it was very fun. I helped Kira fix her phone because I don't know what happened to it.
Mazer, remember when you dropped your phone in a koi pond? That was fun.
Okay. Listen. One, I want to point out this was maybe a week after I had gotten my new phone. I was in Texas visiting some people for a con, and we went out to eat at a Japanese place. Phil was there.
You stole my phone.
I don't remember why I stole your phone.
You had to text somebody to say that you dropped your phone at a coin.
Oh yeah, I told you to tell my ex that I had dropped my phone because I was in the middle of a conversation with her. But I had pulled my phone I was trying to pull my phone out of my pocket to take a picture of something, but it slipped as I was pulling it out, and it went flying over the railing into the fenced-off koi pond in front of the restaurant.
I mean, to be fair, that's like one of the better stories of how you could lose a phone. You know,
the phone still works. One of our friends, he jumped into the pond to get it. Shout out to Danny Sleeves.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do it. I would have been eaten by those koi.
I mean, phones are expensive. I don't blame him.
But I'm not good at holding things.
That's so valid.
So the phone still works. I want people to know this. I still use it. I've had to buy like 3 different screen protectors, but yeah, I can take care of my stuff.
Just to go back to what we were originally talking about, Mazer, you gotta watch the Gachas OVA.
I forgot to when I got back because my roommates kept watching My Hero Academia. And I was like, man, maybe I should watch that. Everyone seems really into it, and it looks kind of cool. And I like a good shonen. And yeah.
Well, here's a message to all you out there. Watch the Gachas OVA. And then watch Bloom and Goo, because you really need to support Yuri anime.
And then watch Full Metal Alchemist, just because I really like that show.
Yeah. Full Metal Alchemist remains one of the best anime I've ever watched.
But the 2003 or
this
Brotherhood?
on October 3rd.
Brotherhood.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I fucking love Brotherhood.
Awesome. Oh, you guys have good taste. You are both very cultured people. Thank you. I mean, I really enjoy the 2003 too, but I just prefer.
I don't think I know anyone who likes the 2003 one over Brotherhood.
I've seen I know 3 people who
What?
I mean, and I mean, there's definitely good arguments to be made in its favor. Something about the color palette of the 2003 version is a lot more vibrant than Brotherhood, so I can understand preferring that. The animation's gorgeous, and it doesn't feel as rushed in the beginning, understandably because Brotherhood was trying to, surpass the point where it had a lot in common with the first anime. But I guess just because I like the manga so much, and Brotherhood basically follows the manga, I'm like, well, I know what I would pick, so...
Also, I just want to say the first opening for Brotherhood remains one of my favorite anime openings
again
ever.
By Yui.
Is it weird? Is it weird that I prefer the 4th opening?
Not at all. The openings are great.
I don't remember that one off the top of my head.
God,
but I don't remember there being an opening for Brotherhood that I didn't like.
They're all just really solid.
I was kind of mad on the second one. I was mad on the second one, but all the other ones are super good.
I'm going to have to go and look this up afterwards.
I have to refresh my memory a little bit, but I remember Golden Time Lover being really good. The one where he starts out and it's raining and he's about to smash the flower.
Yeah. Oh, that one was super good.
That was such a jam, and I could never find where I could buy the song because I try to legally purchase my music, and I have not been able to find it, and I'm really sad. I guess Sakima Switch doesn't have their stuff on iTunes or anything like that.
You can maybe find something at a con.
Really?
There's always... I don't know. The cons... Well, at Anime Boston, because you frequent that one, right? I feel like I've seen a few booths that sell anime CDs, like OSTs or stuff, because I've bought a Love Live CD once.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
I mean, obviously, it changes every year, but I think I remember seeing a few at a couple times.
Still though, I spend all my time. My time and my money in Artist Alley, but maybe I should go back.
Oh, fair.
And, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be spending so much money next spring. It's gonna be great, but it's gonna be terrible at the same time.
I can't wait for AB next
same.
year.
Now, I do want to say, to be fair to the 2003 anime, they did have an opening by Asian Kung Fu Generation.
True.
Brotherhood didn't have that, so I got to give the 2003 anime credit.
I quite like the 2003 version too. I just think that Brotherhood works a lot more because, obviously, because it had something to go off of with the manga. It didn't surpass it, so that helped it out a lot. But I'm never gonna talk bad about the 2003 anime either because I like them both.
Admittedly, I've not seen the 2003 anime.
That's fine. You don't really need to once you've seen Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I've always been curious about the 2003 anime because I've heard about like the changes that they make in it, and I'm really just wondering how they did that. Maybe one day.
It's been a very long time since I watched it, but I remember it not making sense to me how it worked. So maybe that would change if I watched it now that I'm older, because I watched it in middle school. There could have been stuff that went over my head, but I just remember liking the coherency of Brotherhood's plot over 2003, because I was like, okay, well, Brotherhood, I understand what's going on here. 2003, it felt like they kind of had to pull some stuff out of thin air, and to be fair, I think that's exactly what they did have to do, because the manga was not completed yet. So,
yep,
yeah.
Was the 2003 one the one where they had the movie where they went to the real world and met Hitler?
Don't know if they met Hitler, but they definitely went to
what?
It was a whole. I mean, okay, spoilers, I guess, for 2003 Full Metal Alchemist anime, if anyone is worried about that. But
a 15-year-old anime.
From what I recall,
it's been 15 years. I think it's their fault at this
point. But from what I recall, it was that in the FMA world, like, the power of their alchemy was from, like, lives of people in the real world or something like that.
What?
So, like, that's, like, how... Because it was, like, the thing was, like, in the real world, it's, like, they ended up, what's the word? Improve, like, society was, like, improving through technology, whereas in FMA world it had improved from alchemy or something. So it was like they had these two sources of how their societies developed. And so in the real world, obviously supposing to be ours, it's like they didn't have alchemy, and so Ed was, like, trying to figure out how to get back, and it was, like, a whole thing. I still even explaining this now, I'm like, I don't understand, but I'd have to check it out again.
See, that actually sounds interesting.
It was very interesting, and then it was really enjoyable. I prefer Brotherhood.
Fair.
Mazer, you got any random anime recommendations?
The first thing that popped into my head was Little Witch Academia.
Oh, I've heard it's good.
Oh, yeah, that's a good show. Definitely a very good show.
Loved the 2 shorts that they made originally. I remember watching the Kickstarter like a hawk because I really wanted it to get funded. And then the anime, I was kind of worried was not going to be as good as I thought it was, but it was really good. Season 1 of that is kind of slow at parts, but season 2 was really good.
Is it on Netflix? I thought I remembered seeing it on Netflix, but I couldn't remember.
Has both subs and dubs?
Yes. I love options, man.
Okay. One last random recommendation. Okay, look. Please. It's really underrated. Please watch the Tatsumi Galaxy.
Oh.
It's so good, but nobody has seen it.
The name sounds really familiar. Do you have, like, a real quick plot synopsis, or, like, hopefully not the whole plot, but, premise?
Basically it's like a Groundhog Day type show where it's about this college student who's really trying to have, like, this really awesome kick-ass campus life, but he keeps failing. And so the entire plot of the first episode is, like, he joins the tennis club because he wants to impress some girl, but he just ends up spending all of his time with this, like, loser prankster. And so at the end of the episode, it's like, oh man, I wish I could just go back and do it all over again. And so at the beginning of the next episode, it's like, it goes back to the start of his college life, and he makes a different decision. He joins a different club. And so the entire thing is just him getting into these weird situations because of the different decisions he might have made in college.
Oh, I love time loop stories. So this sounds really interesting.
It's a super good show. it's a really good show. It has a really like unique art style, and of course an opening by Asian Kung Fu Generation.
The best part, obviously.
Yeah, would highly recommend. It does not have a dub, and the show there are a lot of parts where they talk extremely fast, so you might have to pause and go back to read the subtitles.
Okay.
But if you like, especially if you're a college student, I would recommend it because I think it has a really great message to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a super cool art style.
Yeah, it's really unique.
Well, I could definitely use any
That's
last,
a really...
good messages for college students because I'm a senior now, so I'll have to watch it soon before I graduate, hopefully. That does sound really interesting, though. Thank you for the recommendation, because the name sounds really familiar, but I just never ended up checking it out.
Yeah. So we've been running for about an hour and 20 now. Madeline, if there's anything else you want to talk about, feel free.
I don't know if there's anything else. It's been really fun chatting with you guys. I'm really enjoying this, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's been a blast. I can't really think of anything else I want to add, I guess, but just I've learned so much about gacha games now. I feel so I don't know what the word is. I feel enlightened. So if there's one thing I get from this, it's my newfound knowledge, and I'm very pleased with that. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Also, wait, so
yeah.
So Mazer, you're gonna come to Anime Boston then this spring?
Hell
Ooh,
yeah.
Let's see if we can get like an East Coasters VAC meetup going on. I tried to see if we could.
Oh, that'd be great.
Like, I went ahead and tried to request Kira as a guest thing through the Anime Boston request thing. So I was like, oh, it would be cool if like a bunch of us could all hang out or something during Anime Boston. I don't know. But Phil, what about you? Are you close enough by to go to Anime Boston?
I'm very close to Boston. It's just a matter of I live in Pennsylvania, so I could be there. It's just a matter of expenses, I guess. I might end up going. We'll see.
Literally the only reason I go is because I live close enough to commute there, and then we get discounted tickets through like my club. So I totally feel you on the expenses part.
Yeah, I've only been to one con. It was down at NikkiCon in Texas.
Wait, was that your first con?
Yeah, that's the only con I've ever been to, but I had a blast. That was a really fun time, so I definitely want to do something like that again. But, yeah, so thank you for joining us, Madeline, and thank all of you out there if you made it this far for listening to us ramble for an hour and a half.
We got way off topic.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Goodbye.